Well, we begin with sad news out of the US this morning, where authorities have declared the 5 people on board the missing Titan submersible are dead. The US Coast Guard made the announcement early this morning after finding modern debris near the wreck of the Titanic.
An international team had been desperately searching for the vessel and its 5 occupants since Sunday. Their air supply would have run out overnight, but the wreckage found on the ocean floor suggests there has been a catastrophic failure of the craft that's believed to have imploded. Our North America Bureau Chief Jade McMillan was at that press conference in Boston. She joins us now for the latest. Jade, a tragic development, perhaps one that everyone had been dreading. Do we know what caused the sub to fail?
No, at this point it's still too early to say, Mads. What the Coast Guard could tell us is that multiple pieces of debris have been found near the wreck of the Titanic, the wreck that this sub had been making a journey towards. Now, they believe that the nature and the location of that debris suggests that there was a catastrophic implosion. They can't say when exactly that might have happened, if it's what caused the sub to lose contact with the surface about an hour and 45 minutes into its voyage. But the Coast Guard sadly is confident now that there are no survivors. Now, the company behind this sub, OceanGate, has released a statement paying tribute to the 5 people on board. It says that these men were true explorers who shared a distinct spirit for adventure and a deep passion for exploring and protecting the world's oceans. Now, the Coast Guard has said that this part of the ocean floor where the debris has been spotted, that the search there will continue. Authorities are using remotely operated vehicles to explore that area, and there is hope that that could provide investigators now with some clues as to what went wrong. But they really couldn't offer any more information beyond that as to what the next steps could involve.
OK, thanks very much, Jade. Well, to help us try and understand how this happened, we're joined by Eric Fusil, who's a submarine expert and director of the Shipbuilding Hub at the University of Adelaide. Eric, thank you so much for your time today. The words were used by the Coast Guard, catastrophic failure. What might have happened?
We think that an implosion happened, so meaning that there was a flood or a failure of the pressure vessel that created that implosion. That is a catastrophic event that takes time within 20 milliseconds. Sadly, they wouldn't have even realized that they were dying because they cannot process that information that quickly.
Right. I suppose in some way that's, a bit of a small mercy, actually, if that happened. Where the location of the debris, so it's about not very far away, 500 metres away from the location of the Titanic itself. Does that give you any information about where this catastrophic event may have taken place in terms of the descent? High, low?
It's hard to say. I mean, we've got 4 kilometers of descent. We've got currents, and those currents can make you drift away a little bit, even a fair bit. We have to remember that the initial area for the research was about 20,000 square kilometers, so that's immense. I think the important question is when this implosion happened. So hopefully we can access some data from some seismometers at the ocean bottom that could tell us if it happened straight on the first day of the descent or if it happened after we heard those banging sounds. So that's where the question is, and this is where the forensic investigation will hopefully give us some answers.
Yeah, because that is a real question. We had so much hope this time yesterday because we were reporting that they had heard these banging sounds. Do you think that they'll actually be able to get adequate answers?
I hope so. The timing will be the first answer to get, and hopefully that external data from the seismometers could detect that implosion, like we detected the implosion on the San Juan Argentinian submarine a few years ago. So hopefully we will get that. Then the collection of the debris may give us some more information, and this is where it is really important for the US Coast Guard and the international vessels nearby to give us as much collection of debris as possible to try to understand what happened.
What were the risk points for the submersible? What could have gone wrong?
Typically, the pressure hull was made of a combination of titanium and composite material, carbon fibers, and it's very new. We've got two opposite effects. The titanium pressure vessel is something which is very elastic, so that can crush and then restore its initial shape, whereas the carbon fibers are something which is completely different, with basically something very stiff. So we've got those two opposite forces, and this is brand new technology. We don't know if that is the issue in terms of design, because that's a brand new design.
Yeah, it was referred to as experimental technology by the company itself. I mean, how risky is it to go 4 kilometres under the ocean?
It's more risky, I think, than going into space these days. And this is why it's a very conservative engineering niche. We tend to evolve things very slowly in the submersible and submarine domain for good reasons. The fact that the Titan was not classified by those societies such as the American Bureau of Shipping or the Bureau of Veritas that are giving some very strong rules to make things as safe as possible was not a good sign in terms of the seaworthiness and the safety demonstration of the Titan. As part of the design, the manufacturing and the validation and the test to be done before having people on board or going to those depths.
Well, there are plenty of questions. You've answered some of those for us today. Thanks so much, Eric Fuzil.
Discovered the tail cone of the Titan submersible approximately 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic on the seafloor. The ROV subsequently found additional debris. In consultation with experts from within the Unified Command, the debris is consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. Upon this determination, we immediately notified the families. On behalf of the United States Coast Guard and the entire Unified Command, I offer my deepest condolences to the families. I can only imagine what this has been like for them, and I hope that this discovery provides some solace during this difficult time.
Ships and aircraft are continuing to search an area roughly the size of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. The Coast Guard says it investigated underwater banging noises, though they have no idea if those noises actually came from the Titan. Veteran explorers say the crew's conditions are dire if they happen to be on the ocean floor where temperatures are near freezing.